Hey guys, welcome back to another impressions video, and today I want to talk about this game right here, Wolfenstein: The New Order for the PlayStation 4, a game developed by Machine Games and published by Bethesda. And simply put, if you guys like the first-person shooter genre, go out there and buy this game right now, because this game has one of the best single-player campaigns out there of any first-person shooter that I've played. And perhaps since Perfect Dark 64, this is my favorite single-player campaign for a first-person shooter. It's just fun, and before I talk about the game, I have to say that I put my pre-order for this game when I first saw footage of this game, because it just looked fun from the get-go. It just over-the-top, old-school type of gameplay, first-person shooter game. And then right before the game came out, the previews started coming out and some early impressions from people that got the game early. And I was a little bit worried, and I thought about canceling my pre-order because I was reading that some people thought that the game dragged on for too long towards the end. And then some people complained about the stealth portions of the game, which there were too many stealth portions. So right there I was really worried, because when I think about Wolfenstein and old school first-person shooters, I just want to go out there and use weapons and run over the enemy and just have fun killing the enemy. So I was a little bit worried about that whole stealth thing, but I'll get to that when I talk about the gameplay in the game. But I held off to my pre-order, and I'm really glad I did. I got my money's worth, because the level of enjoyment that I got out of this game it's really up there. Story-wise, once again, you're put in the shoes of B.J. Blazkowicz, the American hero that early in the game you get into this accident while fighting in the Second World War, and you wake up 14 years later in 1960. And basically, when you wake up out of your coma, if you will, the Nazis have won the war and they rule the world. And aided by this over-the-top technology, they just have control of the world. And it's very unlikely that things are going to change. But it's up to you, B.J. Blazkowicz, to find and free the resistance fighters, and see if you can bring the Nazi machine down. And that's the story in a nutshell. I'm not gonna spoil anything, and that's one of the pleasant surprises that I found myself when I purchased this game, is that the game has a very solid story and very interesting characters that you meet throughout the game. Not only that, but the game also does a very good job of helping immerse the player via letters and newspaper clips and articles that you find and read throughout the game. It really helps you get a look at this newly, I guess, world ruled by the Nazis. So it's really fun, and the game also has character biographies and concept art that you unlock via the collectibles in the game. So a lot of backstory, if you will, if you want to do your own research within the game. So the story, I was pleasantly surprised. Graphically, the game it's good enough. It's nothing great. I can't help but to think that Machine Games, they were held off a little bit by the fact that they also released this game on the PS3 and the 360. So I don't believe they had that full potential of using the next gen hardware, if you will. But there are some textures in the game that look a little bit muddy and a little bit not very good. But for the most part, the game looks good enough. There are some impressive lighting effects when you fire your weapons and whatnot. So the game it's good, but what really helps the game is the performance. This game runs at a solid 60 frames per second, and it's just very fluid and smooth, and that definitely helps out the average graphics, if you will. Now, sound-wise, I have to say that the game is a little bit disappointing. The sound mix is not very good. The dialogue seems to be very low for some reason in the game, and you can't really modify the audio settings from what I remember. So The sound quality, the sound mix is not very good. Plus the soundtrack, there's nothing really too memorable in this game. So I was a little bit disappointed with the sound in this game, but gameplay, this is where the game really shines. Single player campaign, the game took me about 10, maybe a little bit over 10 hours. There's really an incentive for the player to go back and play a second time, because early on in the game there's a split in the timeline based on a decision you make. So the game really encourages you to go back and play the game again. But as far as the overall gameplay, very satisfying gunplay. You can dual wield just about anything. You want to have dual shotguns, you can have it. You want to have dual knives, you can have it. You can dual wield just about any type of weapon. There's a weapon wheel which reverts back to the old school type of first-person shooter games. Usually the modern games, you're limited to 2 or 3 guns. This game you can carry a lot of weapons, and it's always fun. And another old school element is the grabbing med packs, but at the same time there's also a regen health component to it, where your health gets regenerated in chunks of 20. So I guess that we're trying to find a balance for both old school first-person shooter fans and modern fans. So I guess they were trying to find that perfect balance and please everybody, but I think the system works great. You can also get armor in the game that helps reduce the damage or reduce your health going down. So as far as the stealth portions that I mentioned early in my video, I was really worried about those, but I have to say that I found myself, once I played the game, I found myself playing stealth a lot, just because it's very useful when you get to certain areas and you have patrolling enemies. Sometimes it's better just to play stealth, because there are Nazi commanders out there that if they notice that you're there, they call for reinforcements, and the game can get pretty ugly really quick. Especially for me, because I played this game on Uber difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty in the game. So you get hit 3-4 times and that's it. You're done for, you died, and you have to restart from the latest checkpoint. I do have to say, if you guys are a fan of old school first-person shooter games and you consider yourself decent at the genre, go ahead and play this on either Uber difficulty or the next to last most difficult game mode, because it's not very challenging for the first half of the game. The second half picks up on difficulty, and then the last 3 chapters are just very frustrating and very hard. But if you're patient, and if you like first-person shooters, I think there's a lot of enjoyment to be had when playing the Uber difficulty mode. And like I said, the last 3 chapters in the game, they really reminded me of old school first-person shooters, because the game basically takes just about every single enemy type and they just throw enemies at you towards the end. It's basically an arena, and it's you, some health packs, some ammo boxes, and tons of enemies. So it's very challenging. It was very challenging because when playing on Uber difficulty, you have to find cover, you have to be very careful, you have to be very patient. And if you see some more ammo, and it's really hard to make a run for it, because once you're in the open, in an open space, and the enemies shoot at you, you're done for. So I often found myself running out of ammo, so there was a lot of tension, and you can't, like I said, you can't really go after the ammos in certain occasions. So it was pretty tense, but once you clear the area of enemies, there's plenty of ammo, even on the hardest difficulty mode in the game. There's plenty of ammo, there's plenty of health, but the trick is to, you have to basically kill all the enemies first before you can get to those items. So, as I mentioned before, the game encourages a second playthrough. There are a lot of collectibles in this game that are pretty well hidden. On my first run through the game, I tried to collect as much as I could, and I missed a lot of collectibles. So I'm playing on a second I'm playing the game for a second time now on a different timeline, because as I mentioned before, there's a break in the timeline early in the game. So I'm trying to collect all the collectibles, obviously, and some of them are pretty well hidden. So I'm using a guide to get them. My second run, I'm playing on normal difficulty, and I'm having a blast because you can obviously take more damage, and it's just more fun. I can just take out the enemies in any way I want to so far. So I'm having a lot of fun on my second playthrough in the game, which leads me to the replay value. Again, the game only has single player mode, so I have to say props to Bethesda, the publisher, not Machine Games, the developer, but Bethesda, because usually nowadays publishers, they just want to make money, and people out there like online multiplayer. So props to Bethesda for not forcing the developer to make a multiplayer mode. So with that being said, personally I would have liked to see a multiplayer mode just to extend the replay value a little bit more, but again, the single player campaign, it's very fun. It has a replay value, which via the collectibles and via the split timeline or early in the game. So you're gonna find yourself wanting to just replay chapters, and because of the gunplay, it's so fun. It's just so satisfying using hip fire. I hardly ever in this game use the aim with the L2. Hip fire works great. You have your sight on the screen that it's very accurate, and there's also a lean from cover. If you push L1, again, you have to use that a lot when you're playing on Uber difficulty. And as far as the weapons in this game, there's crazy shotguns, you have your machine guns, assault rifles and whatnot. So very fun gunplay overall. And also another positive thing about the game is the perks, which are somewhat, they feel like in-game achievements. For example, if you kill 5 enemies with a grenade, you unlock one perk, and that perk allows you to carry one more grenade. So they're kind of like in-game achievements that are pretty satisfying and pretty fun to challenge yourself to get those perks, because the more perks you get, the better your character becomes, because you can increase the ammos, your magazine size, or you can carry one more grenade and whatnot. So overall, Wolfenstein: The New Order, a fantastic game. If you guys like first-person shooters, this is a no-brainer. Go out there, get the game at full $60, because you're gonna get enjoyment out of this. If you are not too keen on first-person shooters, but you're somewhat interested in the game, I say wait a little bit, but definitely give this game a shot or a chance at one point or another, because this is a very fun title. I think it offers a wider range of difficulties, and depending on how you want to play the game, there's a lot of ways you can tackle through these. Stealth, or if you want to go all guns blazing, you can do that. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this game, so highly recommended. I have no regrets picking this game up on day one. So that's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.